I will introduce President Clark Morber of Soundland, who is actually preparing to begin his third term in that office. This is his third time attending MicroCon, and it's a pleasure to have him here since his outspoken belief that leaders should serve their people and not the other way around is a welcome one in this very complicated world. So President Morber, won't you please come on up?
All right, thank you. And as you've already heard, it's a bit redundant to say, but I am Clark Morber, and I am going to be presenting Crafting a Micronation That Serves. It will be on how to create a nation state that works for its citizens and why it matters. So, let's see here. The down one, is it? There we go. All right. For those, let's see, located near Seattle, Soundland is a nation that focuses on promoting and fostering democracy and human rights. I have led Soundland since declaring independence in 2020 due to our concerns over the rule of law in the United States. Since then, I have built Soundland with the focus of making it the most democratic and citizen-oriented tiny nation I can. This August will mark 5 years of self-rule, which is honestly just crazy to think about. So, this presentation will be made up of 4 sections. First, building your purpose and identity, then building your state, building your nation, and why this all matters in the first place. So, all right. First, some basics. Deciding what your micronation is. Every micronation has its unique national identity or mission, something that gives it purpose. There are an amazing range of reasons for founding a micronation, and being able to define your own core identity or purpose is critical. You want your nation to be more than just you. Think, what do you provide to your citizens? What makes you different? For Soundland, that's creating a space for democracy and human rights to flourish. For the last 2 hosts of MicroCon, West Arctica and Ladonia, you can find their missions at the very top of your websites. You can find many of our missions around this room in presentations and on boards. Think, what's yours? So now, the work of building your state. The work of building a country can be split into 2 parts. The nation, which is a group of people united under some common identity, and the state, which is the authority that governs over the people. These both combine to make what you've probably heard of as a nation state. I'm going to talk about the state here first. So really, what I want to highlight and what the most important thing to remember is when you're building government that truly works for its people is the rule of law. That's where power in a country is exercised within a framework of established legal norms, not arbitrarily. People need to feel like they are members of a nation, not just subjects to an erratic rule. Otherwise, what's in it for them? To serve your citizens, you need clear, stable institutions and legal processes. Under a constitution, set out the structures and workings of your government. Now, we all know that micronations vary greatly, but regardless if you rule by parliamentary coalition or if you hold absolute power over your domain, you can still create a state that is stable and serves your people. If you have a legislature, empower it to operate independently. If much of the power rests with you, appoint trusted officials or form something akin to a council of ministers to balance out responsibility. Make use of tradition and legal instruments like decrees to exercise your power in a recorded and orderly manner. Really, you want to remember what power you have in whatever role you hold doesn't matter as much as the structures you build around that power. The key is this: build institutions that don't depend on you. Your state should be able to function and serve its citizens no matter who holds office. That's how you create stability, and stability is what earns trust. But holding your citizens' confidence doesn't just mean crafting strong institutions. It's about maintaining the rule of law and how you go about your governance day to day. And to do that, you only need to remember 3 things: transparency, bureaucracy, and accountability. Firstly, transparency means making information and records of your government easily accessible. Make sure that your nation's key documents and info can be readily found, ideally online. Government structure, constitution, laws, what's happening right now. Try to have as much information about your nation as you can be publicly accessible. Be clear in your communication with citizens and be consultative. Next, bureaucracy. We've already covered this bureaucracy somewhat with respect to creating government structures, as well as transparency, just making sure those records are there and making sure your institution is stable. But day to day, if transparency is about the publishing of documents, the transparency of making sure people can access things, bureaucracy is the making of those documents. Now, I know it can be easy to hate. Who doesn't hate the DMV and filing out paperwork and standing in line and filing E-Form 17? But we need to understand that bureaucracy at its core is critical for the rule of law. I've talked already about institutions, about ensuring you craft stable and strong hierarchies of government, but the following of those formal rules and procedures by those institutions and officials is what ensures that people can trust their governments. Paperwork is your friend here, which is an odd thing to say, but it's true. Now, lastly on this, accountability. In this context, it really just means making sure to always engage with your citizens through your administration. Try to develop a relationship with them that is inclusive, honest, and consultative. You don't have to face elections to keep yourself accountable to the people you lead. Next, so we've talked about building your state. Let's turn to your nation itself, the people. Now, a state can exist on paper, but without engaged citizens who feel connected, invested, and involved, everything you've built doesn't matter. No amount of structure or law can substitute for citizens who truly care about their people and about their nation. Now, there are a variety of ways to make sure people stay engaged within your micronation, but they mostly fall under two categories. First, give them real representation in your government, and second, build a sense of community that connects them to one another. To make sure your citizens are engaged, it's important to make them feel like they have a voice in your government and can contribute to your state. You can do this by holding frequent elections, but by simply taking people into your government. You want to seek out citizens who are interested and then give them responsibilities where they can contribute based off their skills. This is great, both for engagement and for your institutions to fill these offices. And remember, you want to always make sure to serve your citizens' needs. Establishing government services and utilizing tools like online portals that make it easy for citizens to access resources, and a citizen portal that some of us have, and you can see a variety of forms of that. These are great for citizens, and by doing these things, you are directly providing value to being a citizen. So these are great ways to accomplish ensuring that you serve the needs of your citizens. Next, you also want to engage your citizens through building your community. A nation, as we've already heard, is a group of people united by something common. And you want to foster that sense of shared national identity and connection. And creating a national culture is a big part of that. There's a reason so many of us focus on this aspect of nation building. Holidays, national symbols, traditions, and even your own language. These all give your nation its own identity. But secondly, and most importantly, hold events, whether it's elections, just citizen meetups, or independence celebrations. Events build and cement that shared identity. And, whenever possible, make them happen in person. Nothing is better than real-life interaction, as we can see here today. As you grow your community, make sure to embrace diversity. You want a range of people with different backgrounds and interests than your own. The more diverse your citizenry, the stronger your social fabric becomes. And a broad, connected community makes your nation more adaptable, resilient, and able to sustain itself. And with that, you've now built a nation state designed to, at its core and as a framework, designed to serve its citizens, one grounded in purpose, institutions, and community. But really, that leads to a bigger question. Why does any of this matter? Why do we build micronations? And why is any of this important just beyond ourselves? Well, ask a dozen different micronationalists and you'll get a dozen different answers. But in truth, we are all here because of one underlying fact. We wanted more. More than what our own nations were willing or able to offer us. We wanted something different. Despite our amazing diversity as an international community, we are all here today because we are not satisfied with the status quo. And we took it upon ourselves to fix that. Today, people feel like they have no power over their lives. Look around and you'll see anger, disillusionment, and a growing feeling of helplessness with our current situation. You saw in a previous presentation that more than a majority of Americans don't have trust in their government. A variety of issues involving climate change failure, general lack of trust, among other things, has really, across the world, established a just sense of disillusionment for all people of the citizenry. People feel like they have no control over how their lives are dictated. But that's not true. We do have power. At its core, the power that governments have to make decisions comes from us, the people. Micronations can seem strange as those first coming across us. To many, we appear as outliers in society and international relations. At the last MicroCon conference, someone theatrically leapt out of the crowd to ask us all point blank, why? Why do you do this? Yet, the fact is, micronationalism represents a natural consequence of political theory and popular sovereignty. The power of a government is derived from the people in order to serve us. In many cases, they do fail in that. There's a reason, as I said, so many people across the world lack faith in their elected officials. But here's the thing. When governments fail to serve our best interests, we can take that power back by establishing our very own. According to international law, all people have the right to decide their own destiny and to have control over their own affairs. That is called self-determination, and this is why. I cannot think of a purer form and expression of self-determination than micronationalism. Right now, in this world, we have representatives from over 40 nations, each with their own cultures, values, and ambitions. My friends, we are the manifestation of self-determination. Now, it is easy for those outside this community to be blinded by the current international and affairs of nation-states, to feel like the concepts of nation and sovereignty are set in stone. Again, that's not true. Like all human concepts, they have never been clear-cut. The dominance of the modern nation-state is, in truth, a recent thing. The world is constantly evolving. What makes a nation real and sovereign isn't written in stone. It's not decided by any one person. It's fluid, and it's ours to shape. Micronationalism shows us there is another way. We don't have to accept the status quo. We can forge our own. Micronations are freedom. Thank you.